Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on August 16th, 2021 at approximately 9:52 a.m. PST. Well, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. You have a choice to make right now. Okay, and I mean, the reason I put it as right now is simple. Doesn't matter whether you put it off until next week. Doesn't matter whether you think about it that you should have done it a month ago. Right now is the only time you can ever do anything. Okay, if you put it off to next week and you make the decision then, okay, then it's still right now at that point. Now, the decision you have to make is this. Are you content with where your life is going? Are you content with the way that things in your life are happening? Or are you living in fear, or are you living in fear of what may happen? Or are you living in regret of what you think maybe you should have done before? You know, the old saying, if I knew then what I know now. Okay, virtually everybody faces that question. But the reason I'm here is to help people realize one little detail, and it's the only message I came back to spread, to pass out. And that is simply that working together, we can make this a better world for everybody, and for almost everybody. It starts with looking in the mirror and asking yourself one question. Okay, am I content with my life? If the answer is yes, then by all means carry on with it. I'm not the one to tell you whether you're happy with your life. I'm the one to tell me that I'm not content with my life. So what I'm doing is offering tools that I personally use. Okay, I build myself as a spiritual guide. And the one caution there, if you're following somebody that builds themselves as a spiritual guide, make certain they're following the tools that they are recommending you use. Okay, virtually every one of the tools I offer are ones that apply to me okay, we'll try that again. By the way, this is a live recording, meaning I do not go back and edit. The hiccups, the stumbles, they all end up on video. On the plus side there, if you run into me in person, you'll find I do exactly the same thing. Although if I'm not sitting down, I don't talk as much with my hands. But if you're not content with the way your life is going, this is the time to alter it. Now, the tools I offer, if they apply to me, I'm using, which is why I tell people about this funny little thing called a list. Okay, I put a list together, and as I'm dealing with it, and if you've listened to my videos at all, thank you very much for rejoining us. Thank you for the support. The long range purpose of this is to let everybody know you're all in essentially the same position. You may not have the same amount of money, you may not have the same toys, you certainly aren't likely to look alike, although there are doppelgangers out there. There are people that look very similar to each other, even if they're not from the same families. But the tools that I offer are ones that I personally am using. Okay. And the reality is this, no matter what tools are offered, if you don't pick them up, you're not going to be able to put them to use. And as it was told to me one day, the best carpenter tools on the planet are useless if somebody doesn't pick them up to use them. The most effective psychic on the planet, the most effective, the most successful counselor is totally useless if you cannot find them. Okay, and they're almost useless if they don't follow their own guidelines. Now, am I perfect? Not even remotely. Well, using the term remotely, technically, yeah. Okay, because, let's face it, Pluto is remotely close to Kelowna, which is where I am. Okay, now, I'm really happy about a turn of events here. I've mentioned it oftentimes. If you've got questions in any field, okay, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it happens to be to deal with ancient races, alien technology, where you heard about me, whether it was talking to me in person, hearing me on Spaced Out Radio on R. Keith Andrews, and the ET Connection, which is the first Friday of every month on spacedoutradio.com. Where you came up with the information, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but if you've got questions, absolutely drop me a note in the messages here. And the change in things that I've seen happen recently is people are starting to actually respond, which is great. I like getting them. I was really surprised the other day by a question that came in, and no, I'm not about to use somebody's name to tell you who it was. That person knows. Okay. And it just so happened I was up late at night. Okay, which, that part is normal. What wasn't normal was I was up looking through my emails, looking through messages and what have you. Truth of the matter was I was up actually writing in one of the several books I'm writing. In this case, it was actually expanding on the end of an epic, which I'm looking at bringing out later this year. While I'm sitting there, I got notice that a message came up through one of my YouTube videos. Okay, nope, that's incorrect. I got an email that came in, I think. In any event, I looked at it, and this person had put their questions off for a long time. Okay, so when the message came in, I just looked at it and went, well, I'm up. Take a break from my writing, and I'll answer the question. Okay. Apparently that was kind of a surprise. I know it was a surprise for me to get the question in. But I was happy to respond and to give an answer to the question that was asked. Okay, and again, much as I thanked the individual when I wrote back to them, I'll thank them again. If that is the purpose of these videos, is to be able to let people have a place of asking questions where I'm not going to sit there and where nobody's going to sit there and judge you. Okay. Now, yes, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it, people will ask questions, and whether you say anything or not doesn't matter. People will think what they think. But here's the thing. You cannot control the way other people respond. You can't control how they look at you. You can't control whether they put you on a pedestal. Okay. But what you can do is control how you respond to their response. Okay. Now, with that said, hopefully we get a thumbs up on the video. Absolutely subscribe to the channel, and remember to hit that alert bell so that when the new videos come out, you are aware of them right away. There's a lot of information that I'm bringing out. Okay, and a very big message for everybody. Working together, we can make this a better world for most people. Okay, but it's going to require everybody's efforts. Now, I've got my office now really sorted out. This was a neat one. Okay, something I've been putting off is these little guys. Now, that's just a tiny little thing. I now actually paint these with toothpicks. It's just one of my hobbies I do when I'm sitting and basically not doing a whole lot. But here's the neat part, and you would not believe this. Well, you might. Okay. Hopefully you do, because I'm not about to lie to you to make you feel better. Okay. But these little guys, I'll show you something, and I have to actually release control. My hands used to shake so bad. If you watch my right hand here, if you watch this one, this is the way it used to shake all the time. Now, needless to say, can you picture trying to paint that like that? Okay, with a hand that does that? At this point, because I know it's possible, by working with what's in your head, your body can override it, which is why I can now paint these little guys with toothpicks. There. Okay. Now, of course, because, as you can see, well, I think you can see, there's a little bit of coloring on that head. Okay, they all start out, yeah, they all start out like this, okay, where they're just that white color. But I now am able to paint them with toothpicks, which, everybody knows what a toothpick is. Now, picture trying to paint something with something that size. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they mentioned that it was really, it's really kind of interesting that I can do that at this point. Honestly, from my standpoint, I thought it was kind of interesting as well. But I decided I didn't like the fact that my hand was shaking so bad, so I found a way to override it. Now, of course, the fact that I had a stroke a couple of years ago really screwed up my left hand. Okay, but oddly enough, I found by moving my coffee cup over onto the left side, and yeah, I still get twisted around, but by moving my left hand over there and thereby essentially really encouraging my own left hand to do its work, the strength, the coordination has really gone through the roof. The side effect of that was it helped stabilize my right hand by focusing on doing something that required a little bit more concentration. It slowed the energy down enough that I could operate. Now, here's the thing. My office at this point is actually coming into a nice balance. Okay, where I'm actually able to do a lot of the work. Okay, I'm able to get to writing properly. If you have a goal, doesn't matter what the goal is, doesn't matter how long you've had it. If you've got a goal, a dream that you desire, that you think you overlooked, okay, most of the time, aside from if you put a time frame on it, I desire to get this and to attain this mark this mark in life by the time I'm 20. Well, if you're over 20, you're not making it. That doesn't mean you can't get that goal. And here's a reality issue. I had a client come to me one day. She was 52 years old when I met her. And she was really unhappy because she had really desired to become a doctor, but had missed the boat. She had gotten sidetracked by life, as many of you do, myself included. She got sidetracked, and we got talking, and she told me she wanted to be a doctor. So I spent 8 years talking to this woman while she went about and did the work herself. Now, you're the only one in existence that can be successful for you. Well, the nice part was I met her when she was 52. I worked with her and talked to her and helped her with understanding that she really could pull it off. She did the work. But when she hit 60, she graduated with an MD. She attained that goal. Now, this little book here that I've shown you multiple times, this started off when I was 15, writing a storyline. Here I am, 58 years old. It's in print, and the sequel should be out this fall. Okay, that's the goal we're at anyway. And that is what we're really working towards. Yeah, I know, I turned around because, well, not working. Okay, if you've got a goal, doesn't matter what it is. Okay, do your best not to let people tell you you can't make it in that field. I will absolutely agree that making it as a writer, as an artist of any form, as an actor, as a singer, is a long shot. Okay, it will require a whole lot of work and probably some luck. Okay, some options of just being in the right place at the right time. But do not give up on your dreams. If you've got a goal, and you really don't know how to get started, drop me a line. Drop me a message in the comments. Drop me a line on one of the contact points below this video, and I will do my best to respond. Now, I'm happy to report that more and more of that is happening. Okay, some questions you look at and you go, okay, for me, that's an easy one. But understand something. You may have a question, and of course, the reality is you may look at it and go, well, that's a stupid question. And it may be it may be a real simple thing for somebody that knows what it works like. My brother used to tell my mom, right, he used to talk to her, he's extremely good with computers, and he'd tell mom, well, it's easy, why don't you just do this? It's easy to do this. And mom would get frustrated because she couldn't figure it out. And I finally sat down with mom and I says, look, my brother is right. It is easy to do it once you understand how to do it. Okay, walking is child's play for people. You as an adult, I'm certain that assuming your legs work, walking is easy. Okay, but as a child learning to walk, it is one of the most challenging and frustrating things you can do. Kind of like trying to figure out how to get your message across when you can't speak. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the question. Okay, it doesn't matter what the field. Drop me a line. I will be more than happy to do my best to answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll do my best to point you in the direction of the people to talk to. Okay, now for me, for instance, health food and the proper nutrients and what have you to eat are not exactly my strong suit. So I turn to people that actually are either trained by, whether they're trained in school or whether they're trained by experience, I don't care. If they've got the information, what their name says, what degree they have, is not relevant to me. I mean, if you think about it, doctors spend a lot of time in school working on their education to figure out how health works. It is amazing with that in mind, after spending years in school to learn how that works and to get their MD, it's amazing how many doctors I talk to that would go, here's a pill to do this. None of it worked right, because medication in me personally doesn't work quite the way they expect. However, I talked to a couple of people that were health conscious and had their own knowledge base, not trained necessarily. Okay, but they had life experience. So I talked to them. Net result, my weight came off, my blood pressure dropped down to normal, my energy level is climbing, and by talking to people like you, okay, and getting the feedback I'm getting from people like you, okay, it encourages me to move forward. It encourages me to stay on track. So thank you very much for that. Okay, don't ask. Fuzzy in the air. Anyway, this is a live recording, which is why, and the reason I say that is when I'm done this recording, I'll go back and double check to make sure that I got the date right, and other than that, I won't bother editing any of it. Okay, now, if you're happy with your life, that is fantastic. But if you're living, let's say you're going around a group of people that are always telling you fear this, fear that, you're going to go to wherever is really negative. If you don't do this, you're going to die. Well, newsflash for you, really bad news. Every single entity in existence at some point or another is going to die. That's just the reality of it. The question is not, are you going to die? Really, there's two questions there that I look at. How are you going to die? And much, much, much more importantly, how are you going to live? Are you enjoying your life? Are you actually leaving this world in a better position than it was when you were here? That's a personal outlook on my end, but it really is an issue from the standpoint of life. You can worry about dying, you can worry about how you're going to die, or you can go, okay, I'm alive, so welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. It's up to you. Are you going to continue living in fear? Are you going to keep looking over your shoulder or watching the news reports and find out what you can scare yourself with so that you can talk yourself out of enjoying life? Or are you going to start looking at things and go, okay, I'm not content with this part of my life, so I'm going to alter the energy. I'm going to redirect my thought process. Okay, as it was told to me one day, you're going to see stuff. You're going to see the negative. But it's up to you whether you focus on the negative or whether you focus on the positive. Okay, with the number of people around that are talking about all sorts of negative things, you can listen to them. You can join in the conversations. That is your choice. But do you feel better by watching these negative things? Okay, think of it this way. Okay, now I've got a lot of respect for people that join the military, in the effort on their part to protect their country, to protect the people around them. Whether they're joining the military, joining first responders, doesn't matter. Okay, I respect that industry all too well. However, okay, that said, every part of existence, and this is where a lot of people miss it. You may be simply what you look at as, but I'm just a dishwasher. The dishwasher, contrary to popular belief, is the one job in the kitchen that if the dishwasher screws up, the whole kitchen comes to a grinding halt. Okay, now I spent 24 years working in restaurants, and I found out something very important. If a waitress messes up on an order or messes up on service, the cook, if they're good, the quality of the food can make up for the fact the waitress messed up on the order or on the service. If the cook messes up on the food, oftentimes a smile and the right word from a waitress, or a waiter for that matter, will make the meal enjoyable enough. However, if the dishwasher, the one that works in the back of the kitchen that nobody pays any attention to if you're out having a restaurant, or few people do, if you're out having dinner, few people pay attention to the dishwasher. But I'll tell you, if the dishwasher does not make sure the dishes are cleaned in the right order so the cook can do their job, or that the dishes are not set up properly and cleaned properly, the best food, the best service in the world will be absolutely useless, and the kitchen comes to a grinding halt with massive failure. Okay, it's like the other person gets really undervalued is the one that does the cleaning. Okay, and my uncle used to do it, and my uncle used to be a health inspector. And he could walk into into a restaurant that was absolutely running perfect. Customers were happy, the dishes were clean. And he'd walk in, and if he saw one thing out of line as far as the cleanliness of the work area, he'd shut the place down in a heartbeat, whether it was full or not. Okay, value every single individual you meet. They are all of equal value, regardless of income, regardless of political alignment. Okay, the whole 9 yards. Now, here's the other thing, and this is why I said you can live in fear if you choose. I don't personally see the point. You can choose to live in war, in conflict, okay, or you can choose to live in peace. Now, personally, I choose peace. Okay. Now, am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. I get my down days. I get the days where I really question what I'm up to. As a matter of fact, I go through that more often than I care to count. But I keep running things through my head. And one of the things that came to my head, that keeps going through my head, and it's part of why I keep repeating it to you. Okay, I cannot control how you do things. I cannot control what you say about me or what you think about me. I was asked one day why people should believe me. And the reality is, it doesn't matter for me if you do. I mean, I'd like you to for the simple reason that I refuse to lie to you to make you feel better, which does get me into trouble sometimes. But the question that you have to ask is, are you going to continue living in fear? Are you going to continue going to places that promote that you live in fear? Okay, or promote that you will never get any better. Okay, now don't get me wrong, support systems, even if they're flawed, a flawed support system is still better than no support system at all. Okay, now I'd like to say that bloodline family is where you get your best support. Sad to say, in today's world, it's not always that case. But the family you look at is the people you choose to have around you. Okay, those are the ones that will help you through the hardest times. Okay, but it's up to you to make up your mind to be successful for you. And you are the only entity in existence that can be successful for you. Okay, I will offer you all the tools I can. That much I can, that much I've committed to myself. Never mind committing it to you. Okay. But the reality is the only thing in your life that you ever truly own that nobody can actually take away from you is your word. People can coerce you to give your word when you don't really desire to. People can threaten you and make it really necessary, which is really heavy-duty coercion. But you still have to choose to give that word. And that is solely 100% on you. It's time people stop looking at other people and going, oh, you're of this group, so therefore you're the reason the world's in chaos. The reason the world is in chaos is because people are choosing to focus on the chaotic side. Okay, now there are things that happen that affect everybody. Like right now, most of Western Canada and quite frankly, the Western United States are all under severe fire warnings. Okay, there's forest fires all over the place. But the thing to remember here is much like illnesses. Fire doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care how much money you've got. It doesn't care who you vote for. Okay, it doesn't care who you crawl into bed with. Fire doesn't care. Fire simply consumes everything in its path. If you're alive, okay, if you're an inanimate object, okay, then fire will take it out. Okay, and fire, frankly, has a much higher propensity for success in what it does because it gets really focused. It goes, I'm going to burn, and I'm going to burn everything I can get my hands on. And rest assured it does. Now, there are people that I've run into that have gone, I'm going to make money at everything I do. Okay, and oddly enough, that seems to work for them. I've decided it's not a question of I'm going to make money at everything I do, but I did set myself a goal for how much money I was going to generate this month. Okay, and lo and behold, as soon as I did that, bang, I've already hit that level. Okay, and I did that by simply putting a sheet of paper up on my wall where my office is here that literally says I have legally attained a minimum of $2,000 per month try that again. I have legally attained a minimum of $2,000 by August 31st, 2021, 1 minute to midnight. Now, the nice part is I've already hit that goal. Okay. Now, the thing is, the $2,000, that's variable. Okay. That is whatever it costs you to run your entire house. Rent, utilities, insurance, transportation, food. Okay. All of that combined, that's what that $2,000 is for me. Okay. So I really encourage you to get a sign like that up where you can see it. The other one is you'll see a wood sign just over there. Okay. That sign there actually says, I am worth it. The 4 most powerful words in sequence towards helping people's self-esteem. Okay. That is also why I wrote this little booklet. Yep, this one. Believe in yourself and follow your dreams. Like I said, I am currently writing 32 books at the same time. Okay. All the books I've already got in print that are attainable through me, you can find on the list below this video. Okay. And absolutely, if you've got questions in any field, drop me a line. Okay, I will do my best to respond. Okay. And just a quick other note. If you ever get to the Kelowna area, do I meet people in person? Absolutely. Okay, it's just a question. Drop me a line. Let me know that you're in the area. And we will arrange a time that works around my schedule because I do have a regular job. This said, I've got other things I gotta get done. And I do keep these videos to a half-hour mark. So with that in mind, I will see you tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.